It's not even been a year since Kamala got her clock cleaned by Trump in the presidential election, but clearly she thinks it could be different next time.
Could it be you?
Possibly.
Have you made a decision yet?
No, I have not.
But you say in your book, I'm not done.
That is correct. I am not done.
When you look at the bookies' odds, they put you as an outsider, even behind Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I mean, is that underestimating you?
I think there are all kinds of polls that will tell you a variety of things. I've never listened to polls.
Well, she doesn't listen, period. Not to polls and certainly not to voters who are screaming, listen, no, 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 please. And Gavin Newsom's been fantasizing about moving into 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue as well.
After the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought.
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
Oh, no, he never lies. Yeah, you do lie, and you have a lot. Like when you told us that L.A. was, it didn't need federal help, things were okay in those riots, or that permitting the wildfires would all be expedited. It's taking forever. Look at Malibu. Let's face it, Gavin Newsom oozes inauthenticity, right down to his new phony accent when he was talking about growing up raised by a single mom.
It was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread, Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yeah,
Man, bro.
yeah. Are you talking about me?
Young YG.
YG,
but
man,
every day in the backyard, just bouncing the basketball.
I went on and on. It's actually called dribbling. But before we get to 2028, we're in the final sprint ahead of next Tuesday's election. Here to discuss is Special Report anchor Bret Baier, also the author of the new massive bestseller, To Rescue the American Spirit, Teddy Roosevelt, and the Birth of a Superpower. Bret, I follow you on Instagram, and I think you might be logging in more miles than President Trump. Okay, you're everywhere, and I love it. I've been watching you. Fantastic, and congrats on the book.
Thank you, Laura.
So, Bret, I talked about the New York City mayoral race and the angle, but there's also this Virginia and New Jersey gubernatorial off-year elections. Could these serve, in your mind, as a bellwether for the midterms if Republicans even manage to win one?
Yeah, Laura, good evening. I'm coming to you from the Richard Nixon Presidential Library, getting ready to have an event tonight. But I do think that these races are tightening as they get closer to Election Day. And you look at the polls, they're within single digits. If you're talking about a purple state where the Democratic candidate was supposed to run away with it in both of these cases, in New Jersey and Virginia, and you have a Republican who's closing in the final days in both cases, I think that is a bellwether of this fight is really there, and that it tells you a story about 26. I think some of the story is that the Democratic Party is split, and the oxygen and the power is really on the far left side of the party. And, there's still obviously a large part that's center left looking for other candidates.
Yeah, and Abigail Spanberger is caught between a rock and a hard place on the trans issue and on Jay Jones. And so she's forced to go to the left, even though that state really isn't a hard left state. Certainly never has been, at least, and it doesn't seem to look like one now.
Exactly. I think Virginia is a perfect case in that, there will be a time where we look at the polls ahead of Election Day that should paint a picture, but I'd be careful about polls because remember the New Jersey race last time where Chitterelli, we had him down about 20 points. It finished, single digits, low single digits. And now he's, 5, 6 points, depending on the polls. Mikey Sherrill has not been the best candidate. And I think that both of these candidates are closing.
Bret, an interesting moment aboard Air Force One. It's a long trip for the president to Asia, and he likes to gaggle and talk to the reporters. And he was talking about 2028 and what the Republican ticket could look like then. Let's watch.
We have one of them standing right here. We have J.D., obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable.
Marco Rubio sitting there going, please don't mention me. So he's like, don't mention me.
Shaking his head.
Yeah. What do you think
Exactly.
about that?
I will note that every time, Laura, that he's asked about 28, besides saying, well, I'd like to run if I could, he says, well, you know, Marco. He throws Marco's name in there. And I don't know whether that's to create the competition between J.D. Vance, his vice president, and the Secretary of State, but he does give Marco a lot of props. He also sometimes says that the two of them could run together right out of the gate and be very formidable against any Democrat that he sees on the horizon.
Now, before I let you go, Brett, and before you get to your event at the Nixon Library, the most surprising, I've had the chance to read the beginning of your book, but I'm going to get through it, and I can't wait to get through the whole thing, but I read a lot about Roosevelt. There's so many great anecdotes about his life and his spirit and his athleticism and his zeal for America and the outdoors. But what was the one anecdote about his life that, in your view, was illustrative of what his political career would ultimately mean for the country?
First of all, he's larger than life, and he is consequential. And you look at all the things that are a result of Teddy Roosevelt around the country. The most surprising thing, though, that I saw was how much of a family man he was, how much he was into his family, how much that drove his life. It led him to real despair and horrible feelings after his wife and mother die on the same night. And he eventually dies after his son is killed in World War I as a fighter pilot. But he spent his time in the White House with his 6 kids, playing with them every day, kind of running around the halls of the White House. Stories that really are something.
Yeah, and relatable in today's society. You didn't think of a man back then kind of playing around with his kids so much, but that was one of the many stories in your book. Brett, congratulations. Come back to D.C. soon. We miss you. But congrats on another massive bestseller.
I'll be there.
Brett Baier.
Fox News alert, we're expecting the president to appear momentarily in Tokyo with the Prime Minister of Japan. And we'll bring that to you live when we get it. I can see why Democrats think Trump's a king, because he gets a royal welcome wherever he goes. The president touched down to a dance party in Malaysia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when Obama went to Malaysia, they didn't play the theme song from Rocky, did they? The music fits because Trump's outboxed China. 47's meeting Xi Jinping in South Korea on Thursday. Round 2 might be at Mar-a-Lago.
We pretty much agreed that I'll be going to China.
When is that?
In the earlier part of the year.
Okay.
And President Xi will be coming into maybe Washington or Palm Beach or someplace sometime after that.
Your 401k made a lot of money today because the China trade deal's imminent.
No, I think we're going to do well with China. I think we're going to have a deal with China. We meet, as you know, in South Korea with President Xi. I think we're going to have a good deal with China. And they want to make a deal, and we want to make a deal.
Trump told the world to choose China or America, and the world's chosen. Japan is laying it on thick. The emperor is planning a grand dinner to honor the president, and he's inviting Japan's top tycoons. The new Japanese prime minister is even planning on buying a fleet of Ford F-150 trucks. You never saw the Ford F-150 in Tokyo until we won the trade war. She's no Shinzo Abe, but Trump says she has good taste, and that's a hot truck. Cambodia one-upped the Japanese. America dropped 214 tons of bombs on them during the Vietnam War. And now, guess what they want to give our president?
I have nominated President Donald J. Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. And he, like I say, peace saved life.
Trump didn't show up empty-handed either. He brought a Sharpie. Now the United States is swimming in minerals.
Two countries are getting along really well. Today, alongside this peace treaty, we also are signing a major trade deal with Cambodia and a very important critical minerals agreement with Thailand.
Trump signed trade and mineral deals with Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam. Last week, Australia. Southeast Asia chose America, and China never saw it coming. Xi's been hoarding rare earths, but when Trump threatened to hit him with 100% tariffs on Halloween, they backed down. It looks like China is going to start buying our soybeans, sending over minerals, signing over TikTok, and we're just dropping their tariff rate to 40%. At the same time, we're doing one-on-one side deals with all their Asian neighbors. Everything's falling into place. The Europeans, the Arabs, and the East Asian nations are all on our side. China gets to save face, do a deal, and our stock market keeps hitting all-time highs. Inflation's beaten expectations, and we're winning the AI arms race. The panicans aren't panicking anymore. They're actually dressing up as Trump's reciprocal tariffs for Halloween. The left said Trump would destroy our alliances, but the entire world is rallying around him, especially after the Arab AI deal and the peace in the Middle East. Trump had to stop there to refuel, and the Emir of Qatar popped in.
As soon as I found out that he's coming to refuel, I said, I'm not going to allow him to take off unless I come and say hello to him.
Well, the Emir is one of the great rulers of the world, not just the Middle East. And the Prime Minister has been my friend and a friend to the world. And we've done a lot together in the last, especially in the last year. What we've done is incredible. Peace to the Middle East.
We've got the Europeans to pony up on their NATO dues, and everyone's calling Trump daddy. The only unfinished business is in Latin America. That's why narco-terrorist states are getting a taste of gunboat diplomacy. We're tightening the screws around the drug lords in Maduro, and Colombia and Brazil are on notice. We're elbowing Chinese interests out of the hemisphere. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some action in Latin America while Trump's meeting with Xi. Just a little flex while they're face-to-face. But you know who's mad? The ladies of The View. They're throwing around the D word.
You know who told us he was going to be a dictator on day one, and damn if he isn't a dictator.
All this winning has got people gossiping about a third term. There have been rumblings that Trump might run for VP in 28 and then just make Vance step down. Here's 47 on that.
You'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't do it. I think it's too cute.
Too cute. As long as Trump goes to heaven, he'll be okay with just 2 terms. But the church is worried about Chuck's chances.
Lord, remind our lawmakers that no gold medals are given for breaking shutdown records, but a crown of righteousness is given to those who take care of the lost.
The Schumer shutdown isn't getting Palestinian Chuck into heaven. Sorry, I didn't make the rules. Trump signing dozens of peace and trade deals all around the world, and Democrats can't even do one deal to open up the government. They're still suffering from ballroom derangement syndrome.
I think to really mess with him, just name it the Barack Obama ballroom, and I think that will take care of half the problem.
So don't tear it down. Don't
more
make
importantly, this is a distraction.
Barry had his chance to build a ballroom. Trump offered to do it for $100 million. Instead, he built a basketball court. So historic. What are these emperors and kings supposed to play horse? Tim Walz's daughter says Barry's ballroom would have been chic.
If it was like the Obamas, I would be like, okay, at least what they will build will be classy.
Classy? Has Timmy's little girl seen what Barack's done in Chicago? His library looks like a maximum security prison. Even the Washington Post endorsed the ballroom. Quote, the White House cannot simply be a museum to the past. Like America, it must evolve with the times to maintain its greatness. Swalwell says at the Democrat primary debate, the moderator should ask, raise your hand if you will destroy Trump's ballroom on day one. At this point, Democrats might never set another foot in the White House. The party's just a wrecking ball. Kami Mandami had a big old rally here over the weekend, and the crowd didn't hold back.